This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan. With your host, Bradley Summers. And get the latest from Alpena Community College with ACC President Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Bradley Summers, and today our first guest is Kim Schultz with the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary Foundation, and you have a lot of monikers that go with it too, which are really great things. A grant specialist, a liaison, and what was the other one?
It's the fundraising specialist.
The fundraising specialist, which is an extraordinarily important aspect of what you're all trying to accomplish, because all these wonderful things that are being brought into the community obviously take some funds to happen.
Right, correct.
You know, one of the big things too that we had discussed that you're working on is the lecture series.
Yes, absolutely. The lecture series is really important to the community, I believe. We bring in speakers from all over, but the one that is coming up is going to be really fun and exciting because we have a local speaker. In fact, she's our Michigan Sea Grant environmental intern, Maddie Sadler, and she's been studying freshwater acidification all summer long in Lake Huron. So she's going to bring a local perspective to a global concern, which would be climate change.
Yeah, and acidification is something maybe not everybody's very familiar with, but it's something that's happening right outside of our back door.
Right, right. So there's been lots of studies in the ocean regarding climate change, acidification, but not a lot of study regarding what's happening in our Great Lakes. And so what one of our sanctuary goals is to do more research regarding acidification and then connect it locally to the global community.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, and these things, all this data is collected to, like you said, you know, put together a plan to either help the Great Lakes if it has a negative response, or, you know, find ways to remediate all of these issues that, you know, pose, you know, a danger to the beautiful resources that we have surrounding us.
I know,
you know?
Exactly, yes. So that lecture is July 27th. It starts at 7. Doors will open at the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center, so the NOAA building, at 6:30, but the lecture will be 7 o'clock in the theater.
Awesome. Yeah, and if you've never been to the theater out there at NOAA, it is an incredible asset. Seen a lot of really great movies that have been portrayed, especially about some of the really neat things that are happening within our Great Lakes, and all of the awesome diving videos and you know, really cool shipwreck videos too. And of course the research that's being put on as, you know.
So Maddie, she's local. In fact, I went to high school with her parents, so it's kind of fun and exciting to have someone who is growing up in the sanctuary and then will eventually graduate and get out into the world and hopefully have a local connection here. So really excited for her. She goes to school at Northern Michigan.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Very cool, and it's awesome to bring people back too.
It is, yeah.
and divulge their expertise and their wisdom, and what they're learning and bringing it forward.
Right.
One of the things right now that's going on, and today is actually the last day, is the Festival of Sail.
Yes, the Thunder Bay Maritime Festival of Sail. So it's been wonderful. We've had a lot of activity, and if you haven't gotten down to the NOAA building, this is your day to do so. It's on the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Trail, so you can walk along. It's free general admission. You'll find the world's largest rubber duck, and then you may find the baby duck. So we're trying to incorporate some ROV demonstrations in the tank, so sharing the tank and the baby duck gets a little tricky. But then there'll be lots of kids activities. So there's a bounce house city, like a play area with lots of bounce houses, a water slide, and so that's a little bit of a charge. I think it's $15 to get in and play all day. And then there's helicopter rides, which would be on the other side of the Fletcher paper mill, and that has a small fee. And then the other thing you can do is take a look at the ships. NOAA has brought in a bunch of its service vessels, so you can take a look around at those. And we will have Song of the Lakes playing. So
Awesome.
at noon and at 2, Song of the Lakes will be playing.
And my kids, who are 5 and 7 years old, absolutely love going to this event.
Yes.
And it's almost impossible to miss because the giant rubber duck is like 100 feet tall.
It's huge. It's huge.
It's enormous.
It has a great following.
Yes,
so.
it really does. And it's such a great event too, because people get to see some of the old school and the new school of of ships that are out there, and the wonderful people that are in the ships too, and giving the history and talking about it and answering like a million questions that myself and my children have, and a lot of other people, I'm sure, from the community.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of people walking around to answer questions. There will be from 12 to 3 kids activities. So Home Depot donated some crafts like a make and take. And then there's face painting from 12 to 3, so lots of things for kids to do.
So get out there, enjoy the last day of the festival today, and say hi to all the friendly people and see what the resources are that are available.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and the museum is open, so there's exhibits that everyone can climb around on and enjoy as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. And then there's a festival that's coming up, the Lighthouse Festival.
Right, the Lighthouse Festival, which is it is held in partnership with the Michigan Lighthouse Festival. NOAA and, the Friends of Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary and the Michigan Lighthouse Festival are partnering to bring it to our area. So August 4th kicks it off with a reception at the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center, and that reception will be, of course, food and drinks, and then also there will be a speaker, Jeff Shook, on the Little Red. And then there'll be an entertainer, which would be Dan Hall, who's a maritime musician, and then a presentation by the Sanctuary. So that reception will be full of information.
Wow, and this is at the new lighthouse.
Well, for the reception, it'll be at the Great Lakes Maritime Heritage Center, the NOAA building. And then the next day, which is the main day of the Lighthouse Festival, it'll be at the new lighthouse in Presque Isle.
Okay.
And so they'll have a maritime market where you can walk around free and talk to all the vendors. And then on Friday, that's Saturday, so all day long that'll happen. And then there'll be different speakers all day long Saturday. And then Sunday there's a farewell brunch. So to have access to all of those things, there's a gold pass available for purchase. And then for the Saturday events and the Friday event, there's a silver pass available for purchase.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for what you're doing to bring these events to our area. I know a grant specialist and a liaison in the community, those are tough positions because there's a lot of conversation and footwork, to make these things happen. And
absolutely.
It's not just amazing, just all of a sudden something just pops up and this event's here. There's a lot of planning that goes on.
A lot of pieces,
a lot of things behind the scenes I know that you're accomplishing. So thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for being here today and talking about all these wonderful resources.
Well, I hope that everybody comes out and joins us today, and then also for the lecture and the Lighthouse Fest. So thank you.
And check out their website. It's got all the events that are talked about today are right there for you to look at. And sign up and find out where everything is.
Right. So our website is thunderbayfriends.org, and you can find it all there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
Stay tuned after the break for Justin Christensen Cooper from Art in the Loft. Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest this morning is Justin Christensen Cooper from Art in the Loft.
Hey, Brent.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
All right.
So I know there's a lot of focus on programming, obviously, during this beautiful time of the year during summer. And you have some really cool opportunities that are going until, I believe, September 4th or September 9th, which is your summer view.
Yeah, correct. Our summer view. So right now we have 35 artists up at the Loft on display through September 9th. We are open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5. A lot of people ask that, actually. Like, hey, do you got regular hours? Because they're there for like an event or like a private event or a wedding or a class. And then work happens to be up there, but we actually hold standard hours, which is great. So Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, we have 35 artists local to the area, and people can just drop in. You know, they're unlike a museum. We don't have an admission fee or anything like that. You can view all that, learn about our classes while you're up there, and we do say that it's the best view of the lake in town.
Yeah, it is a
So,
really cool view up there.
There you go. Right.
It really is. You know, and some of the items that you have there are actually for sale.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would say 99.9% of them are. There's just a few artists that choose not to maybe do that because it's a family piece or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But, oh yeah, I mean, the cool thing is when we do have those weddings, a lot of the time people will buy a piece to like remember that date by. So if people are looking to like take home a piece of Alpena or Northeast Michigan or Michigan in general, I think Art in the Loft has to be a stop if you're in town. So.
Yeah, and I know Michelis, he does
yeah.
the ceramic and
Yep,
pottery.
exactly.
And I've been meaning to buy a coffee mug up there for the last like year.
Oh man, you got to
so-
get up and do it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's got like the standard ones, but then he's got like the good old 20-ounce one.
Super
That'll
cool
last you through the
ones.
morning.
And
so.
they're beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
And just
yeah.
and all of the artwork that's
Yep,
up there.
exactly.
And the way that you all display it, just absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, wonderful. I appreciate that. We do have a lot of functional artwork too. You know, we've got between pottery, we have glasswork as well, jewelry, photography. The photography is gorgeous because it really does encapsulate sort of what Northeast Michigan is about. But then it's painting, watercolor, pen and ink. I mean, you name it. We are really showcasing the breadth of work. So.
Yeah, and then talking about that and the breadth of work, and you know, talking about some of the jewelry and the ceramics and the woodworking and things, you have the visual and culinary arts programs that
Correct.
are available to sign up for.
Exactly.
So that's something for like me or someone from the community that says, hey, I really would like to.
Even
learn more
you can do
about
it,
this.
Brad.
Yes.
There you go. So I mean, really, it is like everyone says that phrase like from ages 3 to 103, but truly that's exactly what we offer. So it's going to be, we have our visual arts classes, which Lane Blair Olson runs and sometimes instructs, but she coordinates all of our classes, visual and culinary. But we have things for kids in the kitchen series, which is once a month. We do like a kids canvas series, which is called Smart right now. Well, they'll come in and learn some sort of visual art skill, mixed media, whatever it might be. But then we have the adult culinary series and the adult visual arts series. And so these are really geared towards, unless it's specific to like a series or something like that, they are geared for everyone. You can come in and you've had college training and classes. You can come in and take an Art in the Loft class and still probably pick up something that you didn't get then.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from people that have a different perspective on it. You know, it's not going to be always that highly trained, maybe they went to college and taught in a university for 30 years. We do have that, which is great, but you're going to get those hobbyists that are experts at like one or two specific things, which I think is awesome. And you get a totally different perspective where someone maybe picked it up later in life and then sharing that wealth of knowledge with someone else, which I think is so cool.
That is so cool.
You know?
And it's really a lot of people, like you said, a lot of local people.
Exactly.
But, you know, looking at the names of some of the individuals like Anna Brindley and
Yeah.
Steve Jacobson
Exactly.
and Allison Ray Campbell
Yep.
and Sarah Bedford. And
I mean, they're all teaching classes up at
Yeah.
the Loft, you know? And we can just provide that platform and that format to do that. And where you might see them, or maybe they have a different job and they're doing it, and you see them in that capacity, but then they're doing this on the side, and it's really enriching your life and doing things that you want to do and taking in Northeast Michigan, but through the arts. I mean, you get to know someone's culinary history of their family. I mean, you know, you grow up in Northern Michigan, it's going to be Polish food or something like that. But maybe it's a different way that they served it and they did it. And I think that's the really cool part about it. So.
well, and it just, all the people are just as friendly as you are, you know, so they're very approachable, they love to answer questions, and they're very involved too with things that are going on at Art in the Loft.
Right.
So, you know, to bring these people in and take them out, and I know Steve Jacobson does a lot for this community in terms of educating people on the arts, especially
Right.
photography.
Exactly.
So it's really cool to see them take these, you know, opportunities to teach people like me or,
Right.
you know, others in the community these really
Right.
important things.
Well, and that's what builds a community fine arts center. You know, there are art centers on the west side. Great city
I've
over
heard
there.
about them.
That's a fine city, right?
I heard there's a city over
Right,
there. Yeah.
but really what it is, right, it's fine. But really what we pride ourselves on is not only are you going to learn something new and do something new, but you're going to find out more about a person when you do it. And so I think that's when you break that difference between a fine arts center and a community fine arts center, because we're building community by doing those activities. So.
Yeah, and it's such a great, Art in the Loft is such a huge resource in this in Alpena and the surrounding area.
I appreciate it. I mean, we're celebrating 22 years this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then kind of talking about the some of the summer programs revolving around kids. You touched on that a little bit with the culinary arts, but you have Art Around the World.
We do. So this was a first-time gig last year, and in fact, it was a partnership with the public school. So it was a public school-sponsored program where we were trying to build capacity with students that maybe lagged behind due to effects of COVID, really. And so the schools were branching out. I know you were part of that, on how can we get to these kids during a time when they're not in school, so schedules are completely flexible, and we can get them involved in activities that are going to enrich them and maybe fill in some gaps. You know, it's just to get them ready, get their minds geared, but in a different way. And so we've continued that through Art Around the World. This is the second iteration of that. Again, a partnership with the schools. As long as a student is a public school student enrolled in the public schools, could be any of the elementary public schools, the partnership, and they can come and take part in those. So every week until, I don't know, a few more weeks, we're going to be having, each week is themed. And so we're doing things from Native American art, Aboriginal designs, Italian cooking, sushi we already did. I mean, it's just so cool to get, you know, these second graders and up to get their hands on something that we just know they're not going to get in the schools due to budget, you know, conditions and things like that. But where the schools partner with a place like us, we can really broaden that out.
You know, and you and I have a lot of sidebar conversations outside of work and at work and all kinds of things like that. But how important it is to get the young people interested in the arts and, you know, how to embrace that and give them the resources to succeed. And you know, we don't have a community without a future, and our future is the young people. So.
Exactly. And pairing that with people that do know and have the experience. Raising them up. So.
Yeah, awesome. Well,
cool, man. All right, good to see you.
Thank you, my friend, for being here. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay tuned after the break for the ACC segment.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College. And today I would like to begin a two-part series related to a report that was issued by the Business Leaders for Michigan group. And who are they, you might ask? They are the state's business roundtable, and they're dedicated to making Michigan a top 10 state for jobs, education, widely shared prosperity, and a healthy economy. Noble goals there. A private nonprofit organization composed exclusively of the executive leaders of Michigan's largest companies and universities. So these are successful people who work, CEOs and business leaders at Dow, for instance, Amway, Huntington Bank, Alrose Steel, BASF, Barton Malow, Consumers, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Delta Airlines, Ford, DTE. That's just a handful of them. The executive director is Jeff D'Onofrio, who was a member of the Granholm administration and then the Whitmer administration. He ran the Department of Labor Economic Opportunity, LEO, and now is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Business Leaders for Michigan. So their work is concentrated on developing strategy, raising awareness, advocating policy, and championing initiatives that grow the state's economy. So they this week produced a report. I would say a high-quality report, a lot of data work, a lot of benchmarking, a term, very valid practice related to a lot of business leaders. How do we compare to other states? And their focus was community colleges in aggregate. And their report was called Compete to Win, Michigan's Path to Top 10, a comprehensive strategy for how government, community, education, and business leaders can improve Michigan's economic growth. So the report starts, the total focus of this report is community colleges. And here's a little bit from the executive summary. Community colleges have the ability to open doors for Michigan residents to acquire skills and credentials that help them earn higher income and advance in their careers. For businesses of all sizes to close talent gaps and upskill their workforce, and for our state to improve our economic competitiveness. They provide pathways to prosperity for non-traditional students and underserved populations. We, of course, see this at Alpena Community Colleges as well. They do say and begin to conclude that community colleges are not, in aggregate, are not performing as well as they need to for the state to thrive. Here are some of the data points that they pulled together which are pertinent. Community colleges by the numbers. There are 28 community colleges, I've referenced that many times. 194,765 degree-seeking students. They're enrolled in Michigan community colleges, and almost 90,000 of them are over the age of 25. We award community colleges, not just ACC, award almost 20,000 associate degrees annually and about 7,000 certificates. We also, in aggregate, have more than 33,000 high school students enrolled in community college programs, dual enrollment and early college, and that's an increase of almost 12% over 5 years. 25,500 community college students transferred from community colleges to four-year universities, both in-state and out-of-state. And then since 2008, we provided training for more than 32,000 Michigan employees, workers, through the Michigan New Jobs Training Program. ACC operates 2 or 3 of those grants. And there are currently 100,000 job openings statewide that require a 2-year degree. So why get a 2-year degree? They've done some research on that. And this squares with what I understand and data I've seen elsewhere. Excuse me. Higher education leads to higher incomes. No high school diploma, person can expect to earn about $16,800. If they have a high school diploma, they can expect to earn $27,400. This is annually, and this is 5 years after exiting the education system. A certificate, $46,500. Associate degree, $46,800. Bachelor's degree, $58,000. A master's degree or higher, $77,200, 5 years after exiting the education system. So clearly there's a correlation between across all sectors, more education leads to higher incomes. And states with higher educational attainment have higher household incomes. So states in the bottom 10, median household income is $60,863. Not a lot to raise a family on. Top 10 states for educational attainment, $86,056 annual household income. Michigan, which is ranked 37th, is $65,480. So the metric here that concerns the business leaders of Michigan and should concern all of us to an extent is the low percentage of adults in Michigan with a degree or certificate. It has improved somewhat, but we are still 37th in the nation. And then the Business Leaders for Michigan report begins to look into completion. And this isn't an area that can be documented. It's a good metric for us, but it's a bad metric for many of the other 28. So they're looking at 2021 IPEDS data. I've referenced that on the show before. Alpena Community College is #1 this year in 2022's IPEDS report. In the data they were looking at, Alpena Community College was second in graduation rate among the 28 schools. So they have us at 40%. This year we were at 42%. The national median of completion at all community colleges in every state across the nation is 38%, according to this report. But the low end is Wayne County, Oakland, Mid-Michigan, Macomb. They're all under 20%. And so next week we will look into what the business leaders for Michigan propose, some of which I think is on point and could be helpful, and some of which will cause some potential changes in how community colleges are operated around the state if implemented. So stay tuned next week and we'll cover that part. And thank you for watching. See you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts Bradley Summers and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at WBKB11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production. All rights reserved.